join me, Bex from the Wide Boot Company, as I take my PRE to the GBPRE 2024 Breed Show Nationals at Hartpury. It's the day before GBPRE, which is the breed show for Spanish horses. It's our national show. It's at Hartpury, and yeah, as per bloody usual, it's raining on the day that you don't want it to. So today was my planned day to give Elf a really good groom and try and get all the dust lifted from his coat. I've got some lovely new brushes from my friend Anita at Chic Cheval. She's given me some great advice as to what to use on him to get the dust out of his coat, but I just not had time to do it because with the puppy arriving, and I had my niece's hen do at the weekend and a birthday party in the evening as well on the same day, so it's just been way too much going on. So yeah, my plans of getting him really spruced up before we went have not happened, and I'm just going to have to rely on using the bathing facilities at Hartpury. I think they've got proper hosing areas, so I can do that when I get there, hopefully. And then yeah, that's the plan. Just have to get up there. I've not ridden him as much as I wanted to this week either because of the puppy coming and money as well. It's I've got a massive bill coming up for my horse box gearbox, which needs its gears sorting out. I'm hoping it's going to be all right for the journey to Hartpury. So yeah, money's tight, so I haven't had as many lessons as I've wanted as well. But yeah, we'll just see how we go. And I've not even had a chance to ride in the Spanish saddle, which normally I would do before going to the big show as well, just to establish him with it. But he's been in it loads of times now, so hopefully it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm going to get home now because I'm a bit cold. And I've got this little chat with me. Monty, what are you doing? Monty! And Orla is there as well. So we need to get home, get dry, and I'm going to start packing everything, get everything out ready to put in the lorry and try and start cleaning some tack from last year that I haven't even used since last year because it's not classes that I do very often. But there we go. Right, off we go. So we're just about to load, aren't we, Mr. Elfie? Let's give him a little nibble of some grass. And then, yeah, we've got all this stuff to go in, like the wheelbarrow and hay. I'm going to buy shavings there. But anyway, he's very dirty and we need to give him a good bath when we get there, especially his tail. But he's looking good and he seems quite chilled. So we're going to load you now, aren't we, mate? So it was just under 3 hours and my friend Erina came with me. So we've arrived and Elf is in his stable, said hello to the neighbours, and he's really not bothered by very much. He's just chowing down and he's had a nice drink. And this is his stable. So there was actually plenty of bedding left in there, so that was quite good. So I don't have to buy any shavings. Whoop whoop. So yeah, a bit of time before our lesson, and then that'll be the end of the day for us. On Friday evening, we had a clinic with Philip organised by GBPRE. I've cut the audio out for it, but as you can see, he had another, I think it was a stallion, that black one that's coming up there, which was in the arena when we arrived, and it was sort of cantering around quite wildly as the guy was practicing his show for the in-hand sort of stallion section, I think, but he coped with that very well, and then when it left he was pretty settled, so I was quite happy with him. He felt really nice and relaxed. He was really going quite nicely here, and the only thing we had a little issue with was the banners. A couple of the banners he was a little bit lucky at, but not bad. So yeah, I really enjoyed the lesson. I always feel like I get a lot from the lessons with Philip. We always learn so much. So yeah, it was great to be able to start off the weekend just to settle my nerves, really. Apart from getting a bit confused with Spanish walk, check out this upwards transition. So yeah, he was going really nicely off my leg. I was really happy with him. It just all felt really nice. So nice to ride on a decent surface as well. After we untacked, we went to watch a little bit of the end of the working equitation in the big arenas. So I've edited out the music because of copyright. It makes it a bit difficult, but this is the ease of handling. So the sort of slightly more sedate section, and then the speed round was on the Saturday. So it got quite noisy in this arena next door to us for the showing classes, but yeah, all good experience. If you haven't ever watched working equitation before, I have got a few other vlogs previously that I've done about it, just doing clinics myself, but these are some of the obstacles that are involved. So you've got things like the barrels, where you have to do a figure of 8 around them, and the aim is to get 2 equal sized circles each side of the barrels. You've got the jump, you've got the bending poles where you weave in and out. There is a sideways pole, there was a bridge. I think they're just going over the bridge now. Oh no, the bridge is where those white rails are, where the people are sat. But anyway, yes, and after we watched that, we went and put his pyjamas on and had a gin and tonic. Well deserved. So to my dismay, I found out the arena walk was at 7 a.m. Right, it's pretty early. I think it's about 7 o'clock in the morning now, which is very early for me. I don't do mornings. Elfie has he's just having his breakfast, and then we're going to take him down to the main arena walk. I'm just going to pop his bridle on and do it in hand. I did check, they said I was allowed to do that. So, and then, yeah, he's going to have his little look around ready for later. But he's been very good overnight, and only got a couple of little poo stains. So we've just been in the inside international arena for the arena walk, which was fine. He was pretty chilled about that, which is good. And I've just brought him outside just to have a quick look down here at this is the outdoor arena that we'll be in later on, and this is the working equitation next door. So yeah, so the riding club horse class will be in here. So I just wanted to walk him down and just have a little remember of where we go. And yeah, we're going to go back now and try and have some breakfast and put him back in the stable, and then yeah, I've got a couple of hours of free time to go and have something to eat. So right, come on Elfie, let's go back up, shall we? So we're just up in the cafe, and I managed to get my competitor pack, and it's really nice. They give us these lovely hoof picks made out of horseshoes, and a pen from Cavargo, and a pad, and this is the what do you call it, catalogue sort of thing. So it's really good. It's got all the individual horses' names of everybody that entered in time. So there we are, that's us, only us. I think there is someone else in that class tomorrow, and then there's definitely more people in these classes, because it was whoever's entered in time for the printing of the catalogue, but there's been other people enter since. And then we are just up in the cafe, and the showing for the Spanish classes is going on down there, so we've got a pretty good view. So yeah. So we went into the warm-up for the riding club horse class, and it was chaos. There were small ponies everywhere, which he found a bit intimidating. Because the working equitation was on at the same time, we were sharing the warm-up with them, so it was just quite buzzy. So again, I've had to clip the music out because of copyright, but it was very loud with music from next door, and as you can see, he is being quite strong, and they are all a little bit full of it. So it was quite buzzy, really. So I was kind of in control, but I didn't feel like I had as much control as I would have liked. He kept sort of coming back at me and getting the bit between his teeth and yanking me out the saddle a bit, which meant I ended up riding pretty much the whole thing in a 2-point seat, because every time I tried to sit back in the saddle, he was just sort of taking off with me a bit. So I was the only person in the class in a snaffle. There's probably a good reason for that, but he goes in a snaffle pretty much everywhere, and I like to feel that I don't like to change his tack around too much, and it's a riding club horse class, so it's nice to think that you can do it in a snaffle. I did feel, looking back at the videos, that it looked a lot better than it felt, because I really was feeling quite nervous about this, especially knowing that we hadn't been able to jump the warm-up fence because of all the kids in the warm-up, and I just didn't want to crash into any of them. And he can get quite excited the first 1 or 2 jumps that you do. He sort of can put his head in the air and fly off a bit afterwards. So yeah, I didn't really want to be doing that in the warm-up with lots of small ponies around. So yeah, anyway, this class I didn't really feel was going very well, but yeah, it looks better than it felt. I actually think he was having the time of his life, whether he thought we were about to go in and do the working equitation, quite possibly, because there was lots of bells dinging in the background and, you know, cheering. So maybe that was why he felt quite buzzy. Anyway, so this is into our individual, and you will be able to hear some of the noise because where the music isn't too loud, I've managed to keep a clip in.
And Wolfie with a real time of 1 minute and 59.80 seconds. A 5-second bonus on the ball gives them a final time of 1 minute and 1 minute and 54.80 seconds. Next into the arena, Arthur White and camera Mr. Sandman. Please prepare Freddie McManus and Eden Thompson.
This bit didn't look too bad. He was starting to relax a bit and I felt I was getting a little bit more control. I still feel he's sort of pulling me around a bit and pulling me out the saddle, and with my lower back as it is, it's really not a great feeling. Then we had the bell dinging just as we were trying to do our canter transition, so that didn't help and we went off on the wrong lead and had to recorrect. Never good. Almost managed a nice little bit of piaffe straight passage there in the pre-transition. Anyway, off we go. We finally get into canter, and once we get into the canter, it's quite nice. I feel I can sit a bit better to the canter because with my back it's slightly easier to ride, although I do always end up tilting forwards. But anyway, this was nice because he was feeling quite forward as well. In some ways it's easier to sit when he's feeling like that. And then trying to come back to the trot for the transition here wasn't too bad, and straight off into the correct lead on the other leg. And at this point I was thinking, when am I gonna get the jump in here? Some people didn't do the jump, I don't think, and a couple of the others did it and it didn't go that well for them, so I was quite keen to do the jump. And yeah, so around now I'm thinking, right, let's go for it as we come around this next corner. And unfortunately he broke back into trot as we were coming around this corner here. So then we get back into the canter and then he just gets too close. But anyway, good effort, a little bit of a flying change there after the jump. So yeah, I was just relieved it was over, and I thought I'm not going to go around and jump it again, even though I know you'd probably have jumped it better the second time. But yeah, just leave it as it was. I hadn't fallen off, he hadn't done anything silly, and yeah, that's good by my books. As you can see, he looked very pleased with himself. So I was really surprised to get pulled in second, and this judge is actually somebody I really admire. I follow her in-hand classical dressage training on Facebook as well, and she's written articles for Horse and Hound and stuff, so I was actually really quite proud to get placed second. And then after she gave us the rosette, the other lady in the green shorts came forward and said she wanted to give us another rosette, which was for my horse being a healthy weight, because they had some welfare officers around that were giving out rosettes for horses that they felt were being shown at a good healthy weight and not overweight, because so many people pile on the feed to their horses to get them to a sort of really chunky weight. So yeah, I was really happy to get that rosette as an extra, and it was a really lovely rosette as well. So yeah, that was a nice surprise. These are a couple of the pro picks that I really loved. He just looks really happy and light, and yeah, they're just really good picks. So I was happy with those.
Yes.
GBPRE had also put up this really lovely banner that you could go up after your classes and get a picture taken underneath. So I thought this was quite funny. This was us trying to get him lined up and looking nice for a picture.
That's it.
And just as we were trying to take it, these ladies came up behind and he was kind of listening to them, I think, so I couldn't get his ears forward.
You guys might walk in pups and he might look at you then. Might make him put his ears forward.
So we did finally manage to get one lined up with his ears forward and not chomping. Right, so the warm-up was awful. He was really like all over the place and did jump around a bit as well, which made me quite nervous. And there were kids on tiny ponies everywhere from the working equitation warming up. So I didn't even do the jump in the warm-up because he was probably going to tank off with me. When we got in the ring, he was pretty good. He was quite strong following the other horses around in the go round, but once we got in to do our individual bit, he was pretty good. We got that wrong canter lead, which was a shame, but that was because he was just not really listening. But once we corrected that, the rest of it was pretty good. The jump was okay. He did flick his head up a little bit, which if we'd have managed to do the warm-up jump, probably the second or third jump, he would have settled more with that. But anyway, so we came second, which I was really pleased about. And what really I was chuffed about was this lovely lady came up to me afterwards and she said that you rode so beautifully and lightly, and we were really surprised that you didn't win. And I don't know who she was, but anyway, it was really lovely of her to bother to come all the way down from the viewing gallery to say that. So that really made my day. And also we won a best condition to promote good, keeping your horse at a good weight and not overweight for showing. So we also got that, so I'm really chuffed about that. I'm a bit in two minds about what I'm going to do about tonight with the parade, open parade, because he was really quite full of it and I was struggling to hold him sometimes. So yeah, I don't know what we'll do. We'll see how I feel in an hour or so. So yeah, but anyway, glad he's behaved once we got into the main bit. So I took him out for a leg stretch in the afternoon and decided to go into the warm-up for the open parade. This is the smaller collecting ring that's outside the archway into the indoor arena. So some of the people from the Bravo show that were doing the evening performance are there as well, starting to get ready for their show, and we were just milling around. So my plan was see how he felt. If he was good in there and I felt relaxed with him, then we would go in. We practiced a little bit of Spanish walk, tiny little steps, and then we just waited to be called in. So it was quite nerve-wracking because it was running slightly late, so we did have to hang around a few minutes more. Anyway, that's us going into the arena, and at this point he felt pretty good. My tactic with this class is always to try and keep some space to myself. I try and stay away from the other horses as much as possible just to try and settle him. There weren't too many entries in this class, so it was actually not too hectic, but still quite a lot with the audience. So as you can see, as this horse comes towards him, he just kind of falters a bit. So it's those little things like that. He just is quite green at this level, but he holds his own. We get in there. Yes, we're not doing flying changes, we're not doing canter pirouettes and the more advanced movements, but he is okay in there, and we just get on with it and do our best. And it's just a case of waiting for the right moment to find a bit of spare space to do any lateral movements and try and show off a bit with the small limited amount of things that we are able to do well. I say well, to a passable level anyway. And yeah, he was doing really well, so quite happy with this, and he actually gave me a really quite nice ride for the whole evening. But behind from where Erina is filming here, there are quite large stands with a lot of people watching and talking and chatting and stuff. So yeah, it's quite a busy atmosphere. So I was just trying to push him on a little bit more there. It's just the tension, really, you know, he just, because it's all quite scary, and I guess I'm nervous, which doesn't help, plus my back is not great, and especially doing all the sitting trot in this Alta Escuela saddle, it's quite hard to keep going for a long time doing that. But anyway, so this is trying a little bit of half pass across, not too bad, he just loses a little bit of rhythm and forwardness there. But again, it's, half the time it's because you start going and then someone rides across in front of you and you just get a bit distracted. But yeah, he's doing all right. And then we came around and I think we do a little bit of quarters in the track there. So that wasn't too bad. And yeah, I was just thinking I really want to canter soon, but I hadn't quite found the right moment or the right feeling from him to ask him to do that.
Thank you, riders. Another few seconds to complete your displays, and then we come back to walk in having lined up.
So at that point I was like, it's now or never, because they were asking us to finish up, so we didn't have very long. So yeah, I was like, right, crack on, get him into canter, try and actually do some canter, and yeah, we just managed a little bit there. And back round again. So it feels pretty nice there. I don't know what that little moment was about. He had a little funny moment there. And then round the back of the judges again. And then we were getting called in. And then I was thinking, I haven't done any Spanish walk steps yet. So as we were slowing down, I thought I'll try and, as people were still going, I'll try and just turn around and do it, just a couple of Spanish walk steps if I can, before we go into the final lineup. And there we are. It's small, but we did it. It wasn't a rhythmical one, but we got a couple of odd steps. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of him for that, because we've never really achieved that in the ring before. So then we went into the lineup, and he was really good with this, because I was worried with the clapping when the people that won got their rosettes was happening. I was worried he was going to get a bit panicky about that, but he was ever so good. He stood quite nicely. There was a bit of head tossing, which is a bit of a tension thing for him as well, but he just he was good. So Justine Armitage won the PRE Best in Parade for the Open Parade. And then I was really happy for my friend Zoe, because she won the Lusitano section, and I absolutely love this outfit. I think she looks so beautiful, the colours, and she gave a lovely show, so well deserved. So we all got given a really lovely rosette for taking part in the parade. It is quite a big ask of any horse to do this, so yeah, it is nice that they recognise that by giving you a rosette for taking part, as it is kind of part of the evening display entertainment as well. And then when they said about doing the lap of honour, I was like, I'm getting out of here, because he does not like horses cantering up behind him. So that was my definite move to get out of there.
Well done, everyone. In theory, these guys can take a round of applause, so please go for it.
And these are a few of my favourite photos from the evening display. Some of them are by Danny Berta, and there are a couple from the event photographer that was there as well. So yeah, he did a really good job, bless him. I'm so proud of him. So Sunday morning, it was the next class. And this was the warm-up, and he put in a gigantic spook here, which kind of put me off. And that again in slow motion. And why was that? Because a lady walked past. That was it. Really scary. In case you missed that, that was me saying to my friend Joe, as long as he gets it out of his system now. So yeah, I had another little spook here. Again, no idea what that was about. This is just the quirks of Elf. He is great most of the time, but he is not a novice ride because he just does these odd little things. It just is like he keeps you on your toes. So I thought, right, because he's been in all night, he's not used to being stabled 24/7 is the other problem. So I thought, right, I'll give him a decent canter. There was a lot more space in the warm-up for this than there had been the day before when we had all the working equitation kids in with us. So I was like, right, I've got space. I'm going to canter him. I'm going to try and not wear him out, but, you know, get it out of his system a little bit before we actually go in the ring. And I was not pushing him on here. I was just sat there and just letting him pretty much do his own thing and trying to get him in a relaxed canter. And he was like the Duracell bunny. He just kept going and going and going and going and going. And I thought we'd better change rein. So we did. And yeah, he still, I mean, we must have done about 15 circles of canter and he still felt strong. So so if you look at him in this canter transition, he just wants to go. And yeah, anyway, I managed to keep a lid on it, but again, I did not feel like I had enough control in just a snaffle. It was quite hard going. Anyway, you might be able to hear the other judge talking in the background of the video. It was only when I watched this back I could hear her talking to one of the competitors in the in-hand next to us. And I just thought it goes to show what a lovely, encouraging and supportive atmosphere this is, because whoever it was obviously having problems with their horse, and the judge was so encouraging and just said, treat it as a schooling session. Don't worry if you're, you know, not getting it completely correct. Let's just get her confident. And I thought that was so lovely. So I had commented to my lovely friend Jo, who has the big bay gelding. She always beats me in pretty much everything because he is such a high quality gelding and she rides him so nicely. The judges absolutely love him, and I had the traditional tack and turnout with very little changing time between these classes. So I'd actually joked to Jo, I'm really hoping that I don't get in the top two because otherwise I'm going to have virtually no time to change. So I was a bit tense about having to have this very, very quick turnaround. Anyway, this was our individual show. The nice thing about this was they said you can do anything you like. So if you've got party tricks or lateral work you want to show off, you can. So that was really nice, because actually one of the things that Elf does respond really well to when he's feeling a bit hot is some lateral work, just to settle his little brain and give him something to concentrate on. So we tried to do a few little bits of shoulder in, we did some leg yield. I can't remember, we might have chucked in some half pass as well, and then I brought him back to the walk and did a walk to canter transition, because he's always much more reliable with his canter leads if you go out of walk. And he was a bit better here because he was by himself. I think it's normally when he's in a big group and they're doing this kind of nose to tail cantering around in a group, that is what he finds very exciting, and that's when I really struggle to hold him. But you know, he did a pretty good job here. It's not very tidy, and yeah, it's definitely not our best effort. So I was not really terribly surprised to get pulled in third in this class. I'm not sure where the fourth person went, because there was meant to be someone else in, but he didn't appear. So yeah. it was a bit of a relief actually when we came third, so it meant I had a good half hour to change rather than like a 5-minute changeover. So the judge was really nice. She remembered us from last year when we actually came runner-up, and she just said, you know, he just wasn't quite on the ball with his way of going, and he just needed to be a bit rounder, which was absolutely fair enough. It was not our best show. And then I asked if I could nip out quickly so I could go and get changed, and she said well done and thank you very much, and yes of course. So off we dashed. So I then had a quick ride up the hill back to the lorry and managed to get changed for the traditional tack and turnout class. The lady on the other grey there is my friend Emma, and he's a stallion, that one, so he's really lovely, and he's got a lot of experience at a higher level. That's us going around there. So he felt much more relaxed in this, I think, because we'd already been in the other arena next door. It helped because it did just settle him slightly, and he was probably a bit tireder because this was the 4th class we'd done. So yeah, he was definitely a bit more settled than he had been. My back was really sort of hanging on by a thread here. I was so sore after doing all the driving and, you know, all the loading of the lorry and then the riding, and this saddle, it's not actually terribly uncomfortable, but you can't do rising trot in it, so it has to be sitting trot, and he had us trotting around for ages, and I was like, please can we go back to a walk now, because my back was absolutely killing. So yeah, but anyway, that's the joys of riding in classical tack, I suppose. But anyway, he did very well, and yeah, I was pleased with how he was listening, and yeah, just felt much happier all round. So you can see how much difference tension makes to Euphorbio. When he's tense about something, it's so much more difficult to ride him, and when he relaxes and stays round, it just makes it a completely different picture and so much more comfortable for me as well. The individual show started off with the judge having a close-up look at our tack and turnout, and then we were allowed to go off and do whatever we wanted really for the individual show, which was very nice. So I put in some lateral stuff, so that's a bit of leg yield there. And yeah, I just felt like I had a lot more control. He was a bit more collected, and yeah, I was just able to sit to this a lot more easily than I had in some of the other classes. So this is us just attempting a little bit of half pass. So that's not too bad. And then another bit of leg yield off to the left. It's always hard to kind of think of these things as you're going around, because you never know what the judge is going to let you do, and because the Spanish classes, they do tend to be a bit more lenient with things like lateral work, so it's completely dependent on the judge. You sometimes turn up and they want a very strict English style show, and other judges will let you do some lateral work like this. So this is our half pass to the right. And yeah, it's much more fun when you are allowed to put the lateral work in. It works a lot better for us as a combination, because it's a bit more similar to the dressage we do, and he gets very bored if you just do lots of circles and boring stuff. He, you know, starts messing around and tossing his head and things. So and then we put in a little walk pirouette there, got a little bit stuck with the hind legs. And then into the canter. He was a little bit slow off my leg there. I had elected not to use my Spanish spurs. They are rounded rowels, but because he'd been so sharp in some of the other classes, I was like, I don't really want to be wearing spurs and, you know, lose control of my leg for a second and catch him by mistake. So I took them off, but then I think at a couple of points I could have done with them. But there we go, live and learn. And yeah, again, simple changes for us are always a bit of a struggle, but we managed to do it. And then I tried to do a bit of canter half pass up to the judge and halt up at the top there. So, oh, and a bit of shuffling around there. Anyway, yeah, so that wasn't too bad. I was pretty pleased with him, and we actually got pulled in second, and this is the three of us riding around together, which we got some lovely photos of this, and it was such a nice memory to have. These are always the nice bits of the shows, I think, meeting friends and doing a bit more of a farrier style ride. And this is us with our rosettes in the car park before we got him ready to go home. So these are a couple of the photos that I liked from the photographers. So yeah, this is my absolute favourite photo of all time of us, I think. I love it. So that's it, GBPRE done. And off home, and these are our rosettes. Well done, Elfie. And we were very keen to get back to see the puppy and Orla, and my husband, of course.
Elfie, you love puppies, don't you? You love it. Shreddy, you're interested in puppies too. Hmm? Do you like your new puppy? Do you like your new puppy? You do? You do? You're not the baby anymore. Oh. So, it's the day after GBPRE. We had a very successful show, so I'm very happy about that. My husband looked after Monty and Orla while I was away with the help of his mum and dad, or my mother-in-law, who's been very helpful. Looked after the dogs on Friday when I left for GBPRE and my husband was at work. So yeah, we're just on a hunt for Lulu's fly mask because she's taken it off and her eyes, oh, that's a noisy motorbike. Yeah, her eyes do get quite sore with the flies. So I found it. It's just over there in the distance. So I thought, while the trough is filling up, leave the horse poo, please. Good boy. Yeah, while the trough is filling up, I thought we would just have a little trip down to go and get it. So, but yeah, it's really good. So the dogs are getting on really well. Orla was a little bit snappy with Monty initially because she was a bit jealous, which we knew she would be because she's been an only child for 7 years. So she's yeah, definitely got a bit of only dog syndrome. What are you doing, Monty? Have you got stuck? Come on. Come on. Orly, come on, please. Good girl. Yeah, so they're actually getting on really, really well now. And Orla is even playing with him, and they you know, do little bunny scooting zoomies together around the kitchen and the sitting room. So yeah, the house is a complete mess with bits of chewed up cardboard box because we've given him a cardboard box to play with. But yeah, so really, really good. And come on, Orly, we're going back now. So yeah, we've been I'm really happy about how the show went. Yeah, I definitely think I need to put him in a Pelham or a double for some of the showing classes because he does just get a little bit hot, and you know, it's not a great feeling when you're in a big arena and there's lots of people in. And I think it didn't really help. We had the working equitation right next door to our arena that we were in. So when I was warming up, we had little ponies zooming everywhere. Have you got tired, Mont? Do I need to pick you up? I'll pick you up, shall I? Yeah, so there were ponies like zooming everywhere with little kids and their mums shouting at them and, you know, flying over the practice jump, and Elf just found it a little bit too exciting, so it was quite hard to bring him back down to come on, bud. Yeah, hang on, let me turn the camera. It was quite hard to bring him back down to earth when we got in the arena, and also in the arena next door with the working ec. There was a lot of whooping and shouting and, you know, well done, clapping, and which is great. Obviously, you know, that's fair enough, but it was just a bit much. So I do feel like I would like to have a bit more control. So we have been looking at going in a double, and I think that's probably the way to go, but we'll experiment with it a bit before IPS, and then hopefully by the time the Iberian Performance Show is on in August, we'll have sorted that issue out. So yeah, but all in all, very happy with him. You know, to go into the open parade in the evening, I was very unsure about doing it, but I think because he'd worn himself out a bit in the earlier classes and he'd settled a bit, he was absolutely good to gold in there. Yeah, I mean, maybe he just prefers indoor arenas, I don't know. So anyway, Elfie is obviously very tired after his weekend away. Let's have a little snooze. Bless him, he definitely deserves some days off now. He's worked very hard. So yeah, anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching the vlog, and thanks for joining us, and yeah, look forward to next time. Thanks, bye.
So a huge thank you to Erina, my husband, and everyone else who's helped me along the way to get to the show, and thank you to the team at GBPRE, it was amazing. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.